red block garage. We're starting our Shifting Lanes Project 240.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Shifting Lanes. My name is Gregson, and you joined me here in my room during a work day, but I wanted to just quickly intro this video. We are continuing to do the build on the Volvo 240. Nick is still pulling everything apart, and I heard and saw tons of you guys saying that the 240 that we sent out there is definitely not junk. But I will get to that actually at the end of the video. I wanted to address that because so many of you guys had commented on it. So without further ado, let's check out the new 240s that we got out in the Pacific Northwest, which are totally rust free. The one that we're going to drop all of the stuff into and cobble everything together with is totally rust free. That's the one you actually saw at the beginning of this video of Nick rolling out of like a little car wash. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Nick. He's going to pull these things apart and tell you exactly what we got. And we got both of these 240s to cobble together into one with the one that we sent out there for only $200. And I'll explain that later. So without further ado, here's Nick.
Here it is, folks. I said I was saving everything, I meant everything. This is Shifty Lane's original car. Unfortunately, they shipped it out, and I found out not only do we have these two rust spots here, but do you know why we have this? Looky here. See that seam? See the weld? He's been disturbed. See Bondo? This right across here, up and into here, has been completely replaced. This whole rear quarter, there's Bondo here, and this whole back side of this car has been replaced in its life and had been wrecked. So that's why we've got so much rot, because whoever the body shop was who did the work didn't do the best of job. So now that we've got all this apart, I apologize. I had my camera set up to film the dismantling, and again, my battery died about 10 minutes in, even though I had it charging all night. And over here, holy moly, have we got a pile of good usable parts. I even pulled the headliner. And we're going to be reusing the doors, probably the carpet after it's cleaned up, maybe putting the headliner in. We got the dashboard. So I'm going to keep pulling away right now. I'm going to go on ahead and start pulling the front end apart, getting the fenders, valance, headlights, hood, hinges, and then once I get all the parts sorted up top, believe it or not, I'm actually going to cut the roof off this thing. If you're customizing Volvos and you need good sheet metal, it's hard to beat the original Swedish metal the car was built with. So I save it. I save every one of these roofs that's undented. One, for in case it's needed in the future, and two, if I need to fab something and I need sheet metal, like to build the next shop truck, which is hiding over there in the corner, then bam, I don't have to go buy it, I got it right here. Reduce and reuse. Gotta love it. Sheet metal, DOS conduit. It's done. There is nothing left I'm taking off this car. It's a shame. I know it hurts to see it like this. I've pulled everything that we are going to be able to use or could be usable to someone else off it. Granted, there's still some stuff going on in the engine bay, but there's so much rust and corrosion on this engine, I'm not taking it apart anymore. I've tried. The fuel rail's hammered. Thermostat housing's glued on it. I pulled the distributor, the crank position sensor, the power stage. We pulled the whole front valance off. The radiator's cracked. I'm not fucking with that. Oh, look. That ain't broken. We'll save that. But otherwise, this thing is done. Pulled the wiper motor. There's no interior in it. Pulled a bunch of stuff out of the dash. It's going to get rolled outside. I'm going to pull the steering column so we can put that in the other car with the doors. So all the locks will still work. It'll be the same keys, same hood, front fenders, doors, rear hatch, and glass is the original car that's now a shell. And I literally had to weld in the front struts in the far up extended position so this thing would roll worth a damn so I could get it out of here. So I'm the only guy here today. So that is it. The original Shifting Lanes car, Krusty the Clownmobile, is gone on to better things. I look at it this way. At least this car got to see America before it met its demise. Alright, so it's up in the air. We're going to spread this out a little bit so you get a better view. There we go. This is the bucket. Now, this is in about the same condition as the Shifting Lanes car, except it's never been turbo bricked, it's never been lowered. This has been what we in the Pacific Northwest refer to as standout. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's a guy out in these parts who used to run a place called Volvo's Only, named Richard Standout, and he has a 30-year history of doing the most bizarre Mickey Mouse crud to these cars to shove them out the door and sell them to folks, and this is one of his old cars. So I'm going to show you some telltale stuff right at the bat. You know, again, cosmetic stuff like this isn't a big deal. It's got good tires, which we don't care about. Get the old headlamp back on here. There we go. Watch this. That is just the inner tie rod. Same over here. And this one over here even got a bad ball joint. So, steering and ball joints. Struts are pretty SOL. Again, we got a bunch of oil on the underside of the bell housing here, which is symbolic of a either leaking cam plug, which I don't see any super wet oil up there. So it's got a bad rear main seal. This is an LH 2.2 car, which I like, so I like their harnesses. The transmission isn't leaking bad. Again, classic linkage issues. But, see here? No rust. See there? See there? No rust. See here? Nice and smooth. No one's tried to lift it up in the air wrong. This is solid. This is solid. It's got brake backing plates all the way around. It's got a new tie rod end right there. It's got good brake pads. It's got good rotors. Now here's a funny one for you. Just so you know, that isn't supposed to do that. This thing is, all the suspension bushings need to be done, which we're going to do a complete IPD kit so we can live with that. The exhaust system, of course, is shot, which again, we don't care about. The butt cheeks are solid, which is fantastic. So this is a rust-free car. Now here's our problem with this one. Wham! Ouch! It's not rusty, at least. But that sucker is bent. We got a crease up top, so if we build this car, we got our body man's gonna have his work cut out for him. So, we're gonna drop it down. We'll call this car Joe Dirt. Joe Dirty. Okay, now we got this beast of burden on the ground. We can see front's pretty well screwed, but we can pull that off the Shifting Lanes car. Same with the hood. Wrench kabibbled. Oh, pretty standard under the hood. Interior is roachy. Super roachy. The odometer reads 146. Of course, it doesn't work. Smells kind of like Grandpa's basement on the inside, you know? Stale, cheap beer, menthol cigarettes, and mildew. Here we are. Okay, here it is. Beast of Burden number 2. Now, at first appearances, it's not terrible. It's kind of wasn't an unattractive color. Now, this is another great example of Volvo's only Richard standout. This car came directly from him to the previous owner. This is an 89. Notice something wrong here? I'll give you to the count of 5. That is not an 89 front end on there, is it? No, that's an 85 front end. And this is one thing this guy was famous for doing, because the headlights and stuff for these cars were expensive to get with the plastic. And this front end was really common, so they just swapped this front end on it, give it a quick coat of paint at Tino's, and call it a day. This thing is clapped. Timing belt's about falling off. It's oil soaked. Look at that. You can barely even see the Volvo lettering underneath there. Look at all that attached to the block down there. It is pretty grody. It does run. Surprisingly, it does run. Terribly, but it did get here under its own power, just like the other car did. So, not bad. Hey, we got a new battery. You know, there's $100 right there. Oh, the car had new brake calipers, rotors, pads were all done. Standard, super greasy, super messy. This is an LH 2.4 car. Not a 2.2, this is 2.4, so there's our 2.4 OBD1 readout. It came with a huge folder of miscellaneous paperwork and odds and ends for it. Problems it has is the roof is really trashed. It's got a lot of little dents, and there's a solid probably 2-3 days of body work for a body man to try and sort out. And if you watch it carefully, all the windows are currently rolled up. You see that? It moves. So it needs some work there. A couple of good things it has going for it. This actually stays up, unlike the other car, and it has a third row seat. Again, it smells like Grandpa's house in here, even worse than the other one. There's a couple dents in this quarter, and the door is toast. I mean, a guy could fix it. It's not that bad, but I would just swap it out with one that doesn't need as much work. So let's take it up in the air, and let me show you all the joys underneath. Okay, we are up. You guys ready for some laughs? So look, it's got good tread, right? Good tread. This is almost new tire. We got the nubbins on it still over here and over here. Now, ready for this? Ready? Remember what we showed you on the other car? Look at that. That right there. That right there. All worn out. Get this on there with the light. There we go. It jiggles. It wiggles. It is soaked completely in oil. All over it. If you see a 240 looks like that, it needs a rear main seal and a cam plug. That's all oil soaked. We got red on the bottom of that. Output shaft seal's leaking. You guys ready for another funny one? Look at that. Deja vu, huh? Again, you know, good tires. It's got good tires on it. You got 3 that match. So this rear muffler is actually pretty new, but whoever put it on did that, which doesn't work. And it's broken right there at the cat. Look at that. So, and our sway bar rubber, you can see space between right in there. Motor mounts, shot. So real quick, while we're looking at this thing too, the butt cheek smash, you always want to check your butt cheeks on your 240s, see how they look. Gas tank doesn't have any big dents in it, so it hasn't been rotted too hard. Someone put recently some rear shocks on it. Oh, you can still see the blue. Okay, these are pretty new tires. So, that's a good sign. And we're going to drop this thing down real quick. Right there. Okay, so now, as I said earlier, this is original 1989. This is 85 or earlier, because they didn't have this. Now, another telltale sign you're dealing with a Volvo's only car, that self-tappers through the trim to hold it on. That is a standout signature power play. Another funny thing about this car, yeah, it's the whole bumper just kind of bouncing around there. There's a, oh my goodness, there's stuff falling out from behind it. The hardware is finger tight, holding the bumper on. It is literally like falling off. Look at this, watch. This is one of 2 of the nuts left holding that on. So that's pretty well Tostitos. You see that there? You can see the, where they just kind of bashed it in, made it work. And you look up in here, there's where all the repairs went on. We're going to zoom in a bit here. There we go. Got our flash going. Look at that. There's where the smashed end of things is. You just stretched it out and called it a day. So yeah, this is probably going to be an absolute parts car. But again, worst case, if we need to make the white one our candidate, looky here. Perfect. Whole rear quarter's perfect. So we can slice and dice if we absolutely have to and make it work. Got some good caps on it. We're gonna make good from bad here. And this one has good tags on it. Look at that. So there we are. This is your shifting lanes update. Ah, it's bright. I'm going to tear into the old one, as we see sitting here. I'm calling it Krusty. We're going to part Krusty out tomorrow. And we'll probably go on ahead and part this one out too. Depending, I think. Yeah, this one's going to be the parts car. This one's more trash than the other one. And we're going to make one from the 2 for shifting lanes. There we go.
So yeah, we got these 240s for basically next to nothing. We sold the wheels off the one that I sent out there. They were old Trans Am wheels. They were like 16 inches, I think. And we got like $200 for those. We also sold the front seats. We had 2 sets of front seats that came with this car. We sold those as well. And we're actually utilizing some seats that Nick had that were in slightly better shape in his shop to completely reupholster. And if you go to our Instagram, I will be posting a teaser of the color combination tomorrow just to show you what we're doing. Now, part of this is I haven't told you what we're actually going for with this 240 build. And what we're trying to do is we're actually trying to make an homage to my V70R. So the world's first part of this thing is we're going to paint it magic blue. And I cannot find online anywhere or anybody that's ever painted a 240 in magic blue from the P2 generation. If you guys know of any, please send them to me, because as far as I know, that will be the first time ever someone has painted it that's actually put it out online. So if you know of anyone, please send it to me. And of course, I'll say it's not a world's first, but as far as I know, is a world's first. We're also going to be redoing the interior, sort of an Atacama homage, a retro modern sort of thing. So that's the whole theme of this build, is we're trying to make a 240R essentially. essentially, if they were to make one back then. I know they had the 240 turbo, the intercooler, like all of these different models that were, you know, a little bit more high zoot than the NAs, but I wanted to see if we could do something where we change an old car and turn it into more modern, sort of a resto mod, but not to the, you know, craziest degree, on a budget. So that's why we're sort of doing what we're doing, and that's why we needed a 240 that was rust-free, because the rust-free 240s are far cheaper, they're much better, in much better shape, and it would just take more money than we had to fix the one that we sent out there. So it had nothing to do with the quality of the car. You know, you could have driven the one that I sent out there for many years to come. The problem is with that is when you're doing a restoration and you're actually trying to make a good car from almost scratch a little bit, the amount of money it would take to fix those changes is far more than finding one without rust. And we got these cars, these other two, for a combined $200 once we parted out some things from the car I sent. So there you have it. That's why we did that. Unfortunately, you know, we scrapped the car. However, the car had a ton of usable parts, and Nick is going to utilize a lot of those to help other 240s continue to live on out there in Oregon. So I'm happy in that sense that it will breathe more life into other cars. And we now have a rust-free bucket, as Nick says, to drop everything into and repaint and respray and do everything. So I'm really excited to see what happens next. I believe in the next couple of videos you're going to see some more teardown, maybe some repainting, some of the interior, and I know Nick is working on our engine too. So I think he's done the first part of our red block teardown. So stay tuned for those videos, and that will do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, if you guys are interested in seeing other things you don't see on YouTube. It is at Shifting Lanes, and it's facebook.com// or whatever it is, Shifting Lanes. So follow us there for more content, and yeah, just follow along with the build, and also follow Red Block Performance on Facebook. Nick's posting pictures every day on this build. Next time I will be hopefully in my garage either doing something, or we'll see some more videos from Nick. Hope you guys are all healthy, happy, and safe in this crazy time in our world, and I will catch you next time. See ya!